Hi TK students, it's Mrs. Belatesh and I'm so glad to be with you today. I want to go back and look at my paper mache bowl. So last week we took some paper and we added some glue and water and then we put that paper mache on the outside of a bowl. Well, guess what? I took the bowl out and now my paper mache is hard. I have a hard, stiff bowl, but no bowl inside. It's only made out of paper mache. Now, I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut off the top of my wax paper that's sticking out. I can even take the wax paper out. And now it's just my paper mache bowl. Now, if I wanted to, I could paint my paper mache bowl and I could give it to somebody as a present, or I could have it as a present for myself. I love this whole project because it shows how you can take something like paper that's really flexible and not very strong, and by changing it, by adding some glue and water, we can take that paper and make something strong and stiff. If your class decides to paint the mold, you can do it later. Right now, we're going to look at something else and how we can change the properties of the material. I have these really skinny little pieces of wood. They're really smooth and very thin. They're not very thick at all. And because it's not very thick, I can bend it a little bit. I can feel it bend in my fingers. But if I put two pieces of wood together, it's harder to bend. If I put three pieces of wood, it's even harder. If I put four pieces of wood together, ooh, now it's really hard to bend. But what could I do to keep them to stick together? Because as soon as I let go, they'll slip off. What can I add to my sticks to make them stick together? Some glue. I'm going to get a little bit of glue and I'm going to put some glue on the wood, and then I'm going to put another piece on top and then some more glue. Watch how I'm going to do it. Here's the wood and now I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I didn't put too much because when I put the next piece of wood on top, it's going to squish the glue together. Here's the next piece of wood. Now I'm going to add another little bit of glue. Again, I didn't put too much because I don't want it to squeeze out. Now I'm going to put another layer of wood. So I'm kind of like making a wood sandwich, aren't I? Now I'm going to put another layer of glue. And another piece of wood. Now I want to make sure that this wood sticks together. So I'm going to put some clips on it. So I use some clips. And I am now squeezing the wood together. And you can see how some of the glue is coming out from the sides. That's all right. And now I'm going to let it dry for a couple of days. And in a couple of days, I'm going to have something that kind of looks like plywood. Now that we have made plywood, I mean, we've got it ready to go and it needs to dry, I think we should write about how plywood is made. Please get your science notebook and turn to the page that says, how is plywood plywood made. So when we made our plywood, how did we do it? Well, first we had one piece of wood. Then what did we add? We added some glue. Then what did we do? We added another piece of wood. Then more glue, more wood, more glue, more wood. So we kind of made like a wood and glue sandwich. So I'm going to draw layers and I'm going to put some glue in between. Watch how I do it. First I drew a long, thin piece of wood. I'm going to use a colored crayon to show that it is the glue. So I have the piece of wood and I have the glue. Now I'm going to add another piece of wood and glue on top. There's my next layer. So I have wood, glue, wood, glue. Now I'm going to have another piece of wood and glue on top. And now I'm going to put one more piece of wood on top of the glue. I put some labels so everybody would know what parts were wood and what parts were glue. And then I'm going to squeeze them together and make sure that they stick together nice and tight. And then, boys and girls, I just wrote a quick little thing. It says wood and glue because plywood is made out of wood and glue. TK students, you did a terrific job today. Now that you have made your plywood and you're going to let it dry, if you want, you can paint your bowl. Make sure not to get it too wet. It's still made out of paper. I'll see you next week, guys.